Yeah, just Sveno Mick here. Whilst we're talking about cheap things to run, clutch cables, front brake cables, back brake cables, throttle cables, not expensive. Especially when you're fiddling around a little China bike, I think about $17 for a clutch cable. Got a spare one there and I've got a spare throttle cable. That's the only cables on that bike. It says disc brake either end and disc brake on the front and the back, yeah. But on the old Suzuki, you've got a fair few cables, as I showed, and you've also got a points ignition. So I'm about to put a new set of contact breaker points in the Suzuki SP370, 1979 model, and it's worth a look. Google it, contact breaker points and how to contact breaker points work. It gives you a full rundown on the electrical system. On this old Suzuki, it's a 6-volt system, not a 12-volt system. Same on the old IT, 6-volt system. Now, I don't know if they produce as good as Spark. I went from a contact breaker system on my 351 to a Bosch ignition module factory. I had an MSD, but I had a lot of trouble with that. And then I'm back with a Bosch ignition system. Reliable as. And people that I know what they're talking about said it's about as good a system as you want for the street. But getting back to this old Suzuki, I'm not going to fiddle fart around and waste money trying to put an electronic ignition system in that SP370. Next year had an electronic ignition system or a CDI capacitor discharge ignition. Google that and you'll find out all about that too. Google can be a great friend. It's all accurate, all that side of the stuff in here. With this, it's cheap as, and I decided, got these from England probably a few years ago, got 2 sets, and I'm about to put my set in the SP. I'm not going to do it today because I've got to go and do some work. This is early in the morning, got up early. But you're only looking at very minimal money, very simple to maintain if you know what you're doing. I've fiddled around with points ignitions in cars since the mid-70s and motorbikes for years because that's all we had, and never a problem. Never a problem at all. And 4 strokes was always very accessible to get to the points system on a, say, XT and a TT 500. It was down low on the right hand side. You could get moisture in there, it'd stop it, but if you had a dry rag, you'd get going again. Suzuki here, it's up on the top left hand side under a cover, drives off the camshaft. But very, very simple, very easy to fix on the side of the road if you have a problem with these. Even if you were, plastic vacuum seal bag in your bum bag, with your spark plug cap holder, whatever. You can fit these things in little spaces. But that's what I'm about to fit on the old Suzuki within the next week or so, so I'll do a before and after. But the ignition system does spark under contact or contact brake. Of a night time I was watching, not every time, but there's a few sparks. I don't know if that's normal because it's a long time since I played with them, but they say you always replace the condenser with the points because it takes the load and takes a lot of the arcing out of the points, which therefore takes the potential to arc and melt out of the points, and that's what the condenser does. So they say you replace it every time and look for the price. I can't read on the back of that at the moment because I haven't got my glasses on. Very cheap, very simple. And that old Suzuki engine, I've got to say, apart from having a lot of compression, you've got to know what you're doing. You're kick-starting it, very simple. 1979 model, still going right well. And first or second kick. If you're using it, starting it every couple of weeks, it'll go on the first or second kick. So I'm going to leave it at that. Have a nice day. I better get to work. Sveno Mick from Sveno Mick. We'll go a double thumbs up with simple, cheap things to repair. It's right up my alley when you're not throwing heaps of money at things. It'd be all beautiful to have a brand new KTM 350 EXC, but that's heading for 20 grand here in Australia. Still south of 20 grand, but not far, probably about 17, 18. And all these other things at my age, a lot of the enjoyment is just fiddle farting around with them. Get a lot of enjoyment out of that. Keeps the old grey matter working reasonably well, I think. Oh, what's my name? What's my name again? Oh, hang on. Bill Lush. Oh, hang on, no, it's Sveno Mick. Rightio, Sveno Mick. Have a lovely day. Sveno Mick out.